Hey, welcome back to the Buck Junkie podcast. I got Mr. Mikey here, Mr. Jamie. Mark is out doing some cooking this week, right?
Yeah, he's taking easy end of the week.
Nothing wrong with that, but we did get somebody to take his spot this week. We got a special guest with us. This is our buddy Hunter Williams.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you coming in. Hunter, we have known him. First off, I want to say thank you for your service. He's a local fireman here in our town of Hernando, but he's also an avid hunter and a wildlife artist.
That's right.
That's what I call him because he's our local taxidermist. And I know you, Hunter, you do taxidermy for people from all over, right? Not just here in Hernando.
Yeah, we do everything. So.
You
just don't get to go see him as much as you want to for the
no,
big deer.
I wish I did. But your business name, if anybody looks you up, is what? Final Approach Taxidermy?
Final Approach Taxidermy.
Here in Hernando, and he can work all kinds of wonders. But we wanted to invite him in today, and Mikey, you kind of came up with some questions, and I'm sure we'll come up with some stuff to talk about. But I wanted to talk about something that I don't know anything about really is taxidermy. And I know you used to do some processing too.
Yeah.
So we might get into some of that. And also, Hunter belongs to one of these big over the levee hunting clubs in the Delta, Mississippi Delta. So he's got access to some of the best hunting land in Mississippi. So we may have some questions for you on what it's like to hunt one of these big Delta clubs. I know people hear about Delta hunting and hunting on the other side of the levee. And, that's something that I'm sure a lot of people have questions and want to hear about.
You're very fortunate if you get to go over there.
Oh, yeah, I am. It's an awesome place.
When you cross the levee, it's like a different world right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jamie used to be a caretaker in that same club, wasn't it?
That thing has got the biggest, baddest mosquitoes you could possibly imagine at turkey season.
Little chihuahuas running around.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, what are we going to get into today?
Well,
first off, we got to talk about what we've been up to.
That's right. I mean, what we done on the farm last week.
It's starting to run together. Trying to remember what we did.
We're kind of in high gear right now, so trying to get ready for bow season, trying to get ready for rifle season. We've got some of our food plots broke up, kind of doing them in stages or in phases where we've got some of them are sprayed, some of them are broke, some of them still are alive. Try to keep some of that food around for the deer while we're prepping the rest of the fields. But like last week, we did some planting and some spraying, got some of our fall plots in, bought some of the seed that we needed to plant the rest of them. I think we talked about that a little bit last week, what we were planting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we got a lot of we planted about 10 acres of food plots last week.
That's about not quite halfway. It's a third of the way done, I would say.
It's a third of the way.
I took the boys dove hunting, and once again, rain got us, and wasn't any birds flying. We saw a few birds, and they fired a few shots, but it wasn't a productive day. I sat on the side by side and watched.
If y'all hadn't went and got ice cream,
I know
y'all would have killed some birds.
I picked them jokers up from school. Like I was supposed to meet. Michael wanted to take a couple of his buddies with him, and their mama was going to bring them home. She's a school teacher, and I said, well, instead of me coming through the school line, which I know that takes forever in Hernando, I said, I'll just meet y'all at their house. Y'all come straight home as soon as she gets out and gets through with her daily duties, and they're supposed to be there about 3:30. Well, I'm sitting there at 3:25, got the truck ready, done bought them some drinks and snacks. And my son texts me, he's like, what time are you going to be there? And I said, son, I'm already here. We said we were going. His stuff is packed. We already had the guns. All we had to do was grab these other kids and their gear and go. Man, them jokers went and got ice cream, and I had to sit there for 30 minutes waiting on them. And it was like, I don't know, we didn't get down there till you called me at 4:45. I was on the way.
4:45, I call you, and anyways, I had come up the hill from planting that lower field and went by the dove field on the tractor, and one whole end that was loaded with birds. The whole end of the field picked up, and I was like, man, where are y'all at? And the phone died, so by the time I got up here, got a charger, got the phone back up, y'all had gotten down there, and man, there was a bunch of birds. Y'all were an hour late.
Yeah, I know. And I tried to get them back out there the next day, but the rain messed us up. So we got out there early that morning before daylight, got set up, and here come. It was drizzling rain the whole time. It got to raining pretty hard. And we saw some birds. They weren't coming to the field. I mean, I saw it was probably 2 flocks that you saw because I bet it was over 150 birds in them. They were split up, but man, it was a big group of birds. They just wouldn't come into the field that day. And we went back out that afternoon and they fired a few shots, but they weren't there the same time the next day.
No, they
know.
It's funny how birds do that.
Yeah.
You got days where they're really good. Well, we seen that during the early part of the season too. Was one day we'd go out there and it'd be 50, 60, 70 birds flying around, and the next day would be 200 birds flying around. So I don't know what all goes into that to make them, come one day and not come the next or whatever. But
probably depends on when they throw the corn out them other places.
yeah, them other folks might have been slinging some stuff out.
You ever mounted a dove, Hunter?
I did a couple of
Really?
them. Yeah, they're kind of a pain.
Yeah. I imagine ain't much to them.
Very fragile.
Yeah.
So I guess we get started with you, Hunter. How did you get into taxidermy?
Well, I was always that kid. I'd kill a squirrel and had to skin it out and play with it. But my dad, he was kind of the background of it. For my 12th birthday, he bought me a duck mounting kit. It was actually VHS video.
VCR.
Yeah, and just played with it and did it as a hobby and just kind of grew into a business.
So
like I said, I was going to be a taxidermist.
Yeah.
This kind of hobby turned to business,
Was it like, do people go to school or training for it? Or?
Yeah, they got schools. Now they got more of a specialized, like you can go, like I spent a week last year in North Alabama with a guy, Shane Smith, who's a reputable taxidermist, and for a week long, we didn't do anything but turkeys, just to specialize and up my game on my turkey mounts. But, there's competitions that give seminars to where you're learning. And basically, it's taxidermy in the past couple of years has progressed to where across the board, everybody's getting pretty good.
So, but it is an art.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just something.
You gotta have an eye for it, so.
I guess when I first met you was Mark's deer. We was doing it at your parents' house.
Yeah, my dad's basement.
Yeah, in the basement. Yeah, that's been a long time ago.
Yeah, I bet that's been 20 years ago.
Probably so.
Was you still in high school then?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because the first deer I brought you, I think you were in the high school or just going into college, and you mounted a deer for me out of your dad's basement.
So you think it sounds like you're pretty much self-taught except for.
Yeah. I learned. I'm pretty much self-taught. And like I said, I did some competitions and they critique your work and tell you what you do wrong. And that's what really makes you better. And then they take a lot of time. You can spend weeks on a competition piece. You ain't making no money when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how long does it take, say, a regular deer mount? If someone brings you, I know it seems like it takes forever because we wait like a year, but I know
it's a process. When we get them during hunting season, we're not getting anything mounted. We're skinning, rough fleshing, salted, everything, and then we'll put it back in the freezer till it's time to get ready to the tan. And but as far you talking about like hourly wise, how
many hours go in a typical mount?
After it's. When you got it, you're like you got the form sitting there.
Oh, the form ready to go. I can if everything goes right, you can get one done 3-4 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we'll bag it and let the clay firm up for a couple of days, and then the next day go.
But people don't see all the prep that gets you to that point.
Yeah. It's all.
If you've ever seen a deer skin out, it's not a pretty sight.
Right. It's even a skull mount. Yeah. A lot of people think they can tackle that.
I've done skull mounts.
Nope. They're a pain in the butt too. So
I got to the sinus cavity and gagged a few times, throwed that thing down. I was done. Yeah. When you reach up in there and pull out them little gray they ain't little gray looking worms. They was about as big as your pinky. They were all up in that nasal cavity, and I got sick.
Oh, yeah. Somebody thinks it's $100, $150, $200 for a skull mount's too high. They ain't never done one.
No.
I've bowled some. It's pretty damn nasty. That's the only way I've ever done it. Yeah. I've heard of people sticking them in anthills. I don't know if it really
don't work.
Do that.
No,
a coon or coyote's going to get it before the ants do.
I lost a buck like that.
Really?
Stuck one in an anthill and had it tied to the nearest little tree to it, and they still got it off of there.
So on your skulls, what do you do?
I got beetles, and I'll put them in that, and they'll eat it down, and then of course I got degreasing vats. That's the main thing in a skull mount. A lot of people think they can just chunk them in there and get all the meat off. Well, there's grease in that bone that you gotta get out, and you don't want to boil it because if you boil it, it'll break the bone down, it'll fall apart. So that's the main thing. You gotta.
What's the nastiest part of that process?
If somebody
when they've been hauling around the truck for about 5 days at 80-degree weather, and then
I got a maggot fee. If it's got maggots on it, you're paying extra.
Is it really?
Yeah. I won last year. Eyes were bulging. I turned away. I'm like, no, I ain't doing that.
So, Rob, the other
Rob, Rob,
yeah.
he's a beetle man, and he won't take it if it's not fresh. That was his thing.
Yeah,
He
because the
said his
beetles don't eat rotten meat.
Well,
or,
and if there's larvae from the like for the flies, like you get maggots on there, you don't want maggots in your beetles where they live. So
again, everybody thinks all this is super easy, and really it ain't.
yeah.
Oh no, the beetle room's disgusting. I mean, you talk about gagging. I don't know how you go in there.
The smell.
Yeah,
rank.
do you get used to it or?
Yeah, I got fans and I got mine thinning out, but my stomach ain't as good as it used to be when I was younger. I can't handle it. So,
Do you have apprentices that you got that you teaching what you do or?
yeah. There's one guy. He's been working with me for he started with me on the processing side, and he's been with me for about 5 years now. He's good. He's in aircraft maintenance school, so I won't have him for long. But he's got talent.
Yeah, it's more than just a knife. I mean, you got to have, like you're talking about, it's almost like an artist background on touching up and painting and matching everything matched like the animal look naturally.
Most people that make a mistake when they're mounting something starting out, they got it in their head what they think. You need to look at live reference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main key in taxidermy. Don't look at other people's mounts. Just pull up and Google live photos of deer, and I mean, you're trying to recreate.
To me, the first thing I look at on deer mounts the eyes.
Right.
Yeah, somebody can have a beautiful mount and deer be cross-eyed, it just kind of ruins it all.
Shoot, I've seen, you said people got to have an eye for it. I've seen some taxidermy stuff that they did not have an eye for it.
They were
That looked like
cross-eyed.
a Jersey bull or a pronghorn or something, it just eyes bulging out of it.
My daddy's got
He does.
one that looks about like an Angus bull or something up there. It's a big old deer.
Yeah, and social media has helped taxidermy because, I mean, not that people will put you on blast if you screw up, but it's people are comparing right now, and they're starting to see what the difference is. So
do you think that's why? I mean, I know prices have gone up on just like us on barbecue side. Just your product itself has probably doubled in the past year.
Like last year, I had a pretty good jump. People were like, "Why are your deer going up?" Well, everything in the back of them, 3/4 inch plywood. We all know how much wood's gone up the past year. So, and then a lot of it's knowledge. You're paying me to.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I used to. I always thought, back when I first got my first, it was a little 8-point, first little rack buck I ever killed. I was proud of as young, and $350 was a big, that was a lot back in the day. Right. Now, shoot, you ain't touching one without $1,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's about the going rate for a decent.
Yeah, I'm at 800 this year.
Yeah.
So,
I like hearing the stories.
Big one.
It's gonna have to be a big one. Yeah.
The guy kills a big deer and he drops the deer off. The guy, wherever he drops it off, they process it, they mount it, and they have both of them ready, the mount and the meat, in 2 weeks. That's a good mount there.
Yeah. I'm not that fast.
Yeah.
What'll happen to that deer if you get one back like that, where you get it back that fast and it's not dried
it's
out?
probably not tanned right. Probably not fleshed right. I mean,
They're gonna stink.
I've remounted deer where people don't even put glue in them.
They're stretched over and
stretched over. Yeah, and that's like from this past year. They go pick it up in 6 months. They're like,
man.
So. Well, if I'm thinking right, if it's tanned, technically, just say the mount falls off the wall and the foam mount breaks, you can take that off foam. But if you do it,
there's some. I raided a bobcat a couple weeks ago and it was tan. Now, if it's not tan, if it's dry preserved, you take a chance of hair slipping.
Right.
But if it's tan properly, you can rehydrate that skin and then go back in and pull everything out. Redo it. So,
do you do the tanning process, or do y'all send that?
I do it in house now. Not my dry tans, like your pelts, I'll send it off because I'm not set up. But like as far as my mounts, I just do it that way because a couple of years ago I got in a bind. If I tell a customer it's going to be ready this date, and then the tannery gets behind, and my hands are tied on that end from working. So.
How long does that process take to tan one out?
If I take a salted hide, I usually leave it in about 5 days and then pull it out, and then I'll run it on my machine and flesh it, and then I'll paint my oil on it and wrap it up, put it back in the freezer, or either mount it.
Yeah.
Have you ever messed one up?
Oh yeah, when I was starting out.
Do you still have them?
So,
just to remind you what not to do.
I think my dad's got one of my deer and my ducks. I have to check.
You need to send us some pictures of some of these.
I have to look.
Have you seen people with messed up mounts?
Yeah.
I think Steve Ranella did they're working on a book on it where people send pictures.
Yeah.
Or a calendar or something.
Yeah, kind of be good one, a calendar.
Oh, you want to see some bad mounts? Go in that Mississippi Department of Wildlife Fisheries and Parks thing, and it's got Magnolia records. And you can go in, you can scroll through all the records here where they took pictures of them. Lord
Some of
have
'em rough.
mercy.
Bad.
Lord
Some of 'em
have
rough.
mercy.
So what is the lifespan of a mount? Would you say? I know there's like that store down at Eudora. They got some. It's got to be. I mean, them
It's probably,
things look.
it's probably Marlboro
Oh,
preserved.
they look like they got the mange. Oh yeah, it probably is.
Marlboro.
Cigarette
A lot of
smoke.
chicken grease on
Yeah,
them.
chicken
I mean,
grease.
they'll last forever, but I tell the customers at your job, take care of it too. Take them down once, twice a year, dust them, clean it, because a dust mite will get in there and
Really?
eat the base of the hair. A lot of guys think,
Dang, I ain't
well,
never cleaned mine.
He didn't
You have bald deer.
or take it out with an air compressor and
Yeah,
blow them out,
yeah.
you know, because they do collect dust.
Is that the main care? Just getting
Yeah,
dust
and then
off of
you
it?
can take a Q-tip with some Windex and clean the eyes and just brush them out with like a brush. I've got a couple of guys, they'll bring a load once a year and I'll clean their mounts for them.
Yeah.
If they want to, I'll go to their place. It just depends on how much they got. Some of these guys got big showrooms with all kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So, but maintenance is a big thing. But if they're tan right, mine are right, they'll last forever.
Really?
I mean, daddies are.
I guess the sun.
Yeah,
Depends on
keep
where
'em
you
out of the
keep 'em,
sun,
too,
Yeah. Sun and heat aren't good.
Your daddy's is
Seven.
75, 77 when he killed them deer. So
Mm-hmm.
Does it still look good?
I mean, the deer look. I mean,
So it
they
looks
look
about
as
like
good
I
as what they
look,
did when he got them
rough.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it looks as good as it did when he got it back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it looked that good when he got it back, but
Well, it has changed over the years too. You know, used to you had Joe Blow doing them, and you didn't know what you were getting.
Well,
People
just the materials they were using
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
I mean, it's stuff now. You're getting artists sculpting. I mean, it's good stuff. I mean,
Well, you have to size that deer, like the neck and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah.
and find a form that'll.
yeah, we
You know,
take 3 or 4 different measurements. So, you know, a lot of guys are like, "Well, my deer look bigger," you know. But, I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think back then they just had one
yeah,
one
full size
and
fits
one
all.
form.
Doe or buck got the same form.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a nose to eye measurement and then a circumference in the neck in two different spots. So
That's what determines the form.
Mm-hmm.
All form, you can get crazy from showing veins and blood vessels, and it's
Yeah.
crazy how much you can get in detail.
Have you noticed there's a shortage in supplies? Since I know a lot of like business like we've got stuff that we've had to change.
We're
and
in
stuff.
it now. Like used to, I could get materials in 4 or 5 days. Well, now sometimes it's taking a month longer. Or about 6 months ago, it took forever to get stuff. I had to order from suppliers that I normally wouldn't order from, and make it work because you'd be waiting forever. They said there was an eye shortage at one point, but a lot of it was a labor deal. One of my main suppliers, McKinsey, they just didn't have enough people to put out the stuff because everything's poured. Like they'll like pour it in the mold to order, right now. And the problem I had is I'd make a big order. Well, I have like 1 or 2 things that were on back order, and they wouldn't ship my order. They'd have everything else, and wouldn't ship the order. So.
Yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and I'm like, well, why didn't you ship what you had?
Right.
So
that's just about every industry
Yeah.
now. It's
Yeah.
not- yeah.
and then you got to pass that on to the customer, and then they ain't happy. So
Or have you seen price increases on everything too?
yep,
Yeah.
I got an email the other day, another 3%.
Yeah.
Dang, I thought they just sent all them to us.
So
So this is Mikey's next point on here is, man, I think every hunter, like, what's the biggest deer, largest deer you've mounted, and what area or state did it come from?
I've done some 200 inchers that were out of state, but I did have a 190 class. It was a DeSoto County deer.
What, really?
So yeah, it was a guy actually found it on his property, but it was a good one.
I love every time. I mean, I don't get by there as much as I like, but I love just seeing like the stack
Yeah.
of horns you got. I mean, it's crazy. the
Yeah, a
deer
lot of
come
out of
in.
state stuff that are 160s, 170s.
I seen a monster you did the other day.
Oh yeah,
John Hoggart's elk.
oh yeah,
That dude's a monster. That's a big. That's big.
yeah, up at the store. There.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
His dad was really big.
Yeah, it is.
I know, like in Mississippi, of course, you're seeing deer, turkey, ducks,
Right.
fish. Probably you do fish too.
No, I'm not
Oh,
a fish guy.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to, but
Yeah.
I kind of got away from them.
But what are some of the other like most common mounts or some of the exotic stuff you do, things like that?
I mean, I've done anything from grizzly bears to moose. I mean, we just mounted our last elk for the year. Did some African stuff, but it's getting harder and harder for them to get stuff over here right now. It's
Really?
a year out on trying to get it back. A lot of waterfowl, turkeys, deer, stuff like that.
Do they ship like something that's out of the country? Do they ship that hide and stuff to you? Do they have to give them your address? Or
No, it'll go through customs up in New York and then I think somewhere else, but it's got to go through a big ordeal to get it.
Most of the time, I don't guess they get it's just the hide itself. It's not
Yeah.
meat at all.
Yeah, it'll just be the skulls, the horns, and the hide.
Yeah.
And they'll pretty much already be tanned or salted. So,
Ready to go.
Yeah.
They give you the measurements on that, or you just have to
No, I have
guess?
to take it. Yeah, I have to just kind of lay the hide out and kind of guess.
Best you can, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did a lady's parrot one time. That was a little different. Yeah.
I've seen people do. Hey, that's a big thing now. Getting your pets mounted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people do that. Do you do dogs?
No, I get a couple phone calls
Yeah.
every year.
do you really?
I was so I had a guy we were going
That's
to.
just wrong.
Oh, Rover done kicked a bucket. We need
Hey,
to
there's
mount
people
it.
do prize bulls, like some of these bulls that are famous bulls, where they're
Like a stud bull. or
stud
something.
bulls.
Yeah.
They'll do full blown. I mean, can you imagine what that would take?
Oh,
You're talking about a 2,000-pound animal.
yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, Texas does a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of those guys do. There's, the ones that win the fair.
I'd probably do a bull, but I ain't doing no dog.
That's what I was gonna say. I can see a bull.
I tell you what, I did this guy's dog died and he wanted the skull. I was like, all right, we'll do it. And after that, it was just kind of.
That's kinda
I actually
creepy,
made
yeah.
my apprentice skin that one out.
Really?
I ain't
Yeah.
doing
Oh,
it.
no.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, well, you want to learn this is something you got.
We're not doing gerbils. We're not doing dogs.
No,
Like on that, how you can do a little. Everybody used to do a lot of like freeze dried stuff, but I guess that only goes up to a certain size animal or
yeah, little small dogs, cats. Speaking of that, with the velvet hunt, the doing the horns is freeze dry is the best way
That
to
preserves
do
We
it.
got to get into that. So this Mississippi, it's this weekend here in Mississippi, right? It starts they first time ever velvet season, and from my understanding, it's only on private lands, and it
2 days.
doesn't have to be a velvet buck. It could be any
Oh, really?
legal buck,
Oh, I didn't know that.
but they're calling it the velvet season.
Right.
So have you done some velvet deer before?
Yeah, and there's several different ways. I mean, the old school way was inject formaldehyde in there and just drench it down. You want to stay away from that stuff. They got the new
toxic.
stuff. Yeah, they got new stuff out called Velvet Lock. You can spray on it and you drench it down with that. And I think it's more of an infill, but the number one way is to send them off to have freeze dry. It costs more, but it'll last forever. And
Where you just send the skull plate with the antlers on it?
yeah, yeah. You just ship them to it next day. You freeze it the day before, and then try to get it out.
You ship it froze, I guess. And try to dry
or
ice
either
or something?
drive it there myself.
So what's the process? Like somebody takes a velvet buck and they want to bring it to a taxidermist. What should they do?
Get it out of the field quick as possible. 'Cause
That's going to be the biggest challenge. As hot as it's going
like
to be.
this weekend. It's
90
about
degrees.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't gut shot it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But be careful with it. Like I had a guy call me earlier, like what to do. Like don't be riding around in the truck with it. If you're gonna put it on the trailer, maybe chalk his head up where it's not rubbing up against the metal.
Yeah, 'cause people don't understand. It's not like it's hard.
Yeah,
It's not hard like the
it'll move.
horns.
It's
I mean, it's
like a
real soft,
tissue,
delicate.
And they're getting hard right now. I think a couple people said they've already shed.
We've got pictures of some bucks that's already shed.
Really.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing is baby it and get it in the freezer quick as possible.
Yeah.
Or bring it straight.
So should you try to freeze it, like get it in the deep freeze yourself?
Yeah,
Don't
either
damage
that
it?
or I got my walk-in cooler out
Yeah.
front. I tell people, but yeah, try to get it in the freezer quick as possible because it's so warm right now. Keep the flies off and everything.
So you want people
Because
to
there's
cape them
blood,
out?
there's blood running through them horns.
Yeah.
So you don't want all that to go bad.
I've never killed a velvet deer.
No, I hadn't either. And used to, that was one way. That was one of the other things I was going to ask you about. But that was a good way for taxidermists, game wardens to catch people killing illegal deer if they had velvet on them.
Yeah.
I know there's one guy that he took a deer to the taxidermist the first opening week of deer season, had velvet on him. Well, they popped him.
He done had that.
Yeah, he
killed
done
in the
held that
freezer?
thing. Yeah, he done held
Yeah.
it he killed it several weeks before that.
Yeah, I had one last year come in, but it was a buck, but it was a doe. It didn't have
Yeah, hermaphrodite.
yeah. So
That's usually where you see. I mean, I guess we do have bow season, but usually by October they're They're already starting to harden. I mean,
Yeah.
but you see these deer that something's wrong, genetically wrong with them, and so you'll have
Right.
still have horns that'll. I guess they'll. Do they fall off, or do they ever harden?
From what I understand is wherever they are at in that stage, if just say if one hangs itself and tears his manhood up on a fence, that's where it stays at that.
Really? Huh.
That's what they told Dad when he killed his.
Maybe they don't produce enough testosterone.
Yeah, testosterone being low.
Yeah, that's what you read. You was reading something yesterday about that, wasn't it?
Yeah, about a deer's testosterone level determines where it's at in that cycle, and if it even loses his horns or sheds his horns or whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that would
it mess up the manhood.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
So do you expect to see a lot of people taking advantage of this velvet season?
I think so. I've got a bunch of phone calls the past few days,
you?
like what to do. You know, people asking questions, and there's a lot of people that are gun ho ready to go.
Are all states doing that, or just Mississippi?
Tennessee had theirs last weekend or the week.
I think that's the reason why Mississippi got one, because they saw Tennessee where they're just kind of modeling after them.
Right.
But the big thing is for it, they're wanting to do it's mandatory testing on all the
Yep.
And so a lot of times that falls on taxidermists, right?
Right.
So
right.
do you do that? How many deers that come in do you participate with testing? Not just in velvet.
Yeah, it varies. A lot of people, like when it first came about, when we was doing the process and all that, people were testing because they didn't know what was up. They were scared of it and everything. But now it's kind of died down. I mean, we encourage them to, but once they get a couple tested off their property, they don't really. Maybe I think last year maybe like 15, 20 somewhere in there. But I just cut the lymph nodes out in the throat and put it in a little baggie, and then I think that guy. What was the guy's name?
John or
John Grucci.
Yeah,
the guy y'all had
the biologist.
on the podcast the other day. I
it was
talked to him
John.
on the phone, but he'll send somebody up and they'll make a round and pick all the samples up and go from there. I don't.
All you do is throw it in the freezer.
Yeah, I just put it in the freezer till they pick it up. So
we'll have to get you to show us where those are at.
Yeah, because I honestly have no idea where to cut them out.
Yeah, they're right in the throat. They're like little balls, you know. It's but I just cut them, and I just do that to save on freezer room versus putting the whole head in there.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys will just save the head after they cut the horns off. But
so if someone brings you in a head, are you supposed to legally in the state now? You've got to take that.
I know
up.
the velvet hunt. I think it's mandatory.
That is one of the rules on it.
So, but
I don't know how they.
But the rest of the season's volunteer. You know.
Yeah. Did you ever get reports on what they found, if there were positive finds, or how did
not unless the customer told me, because like once the customer will put his information down, and then I'll hand them the card with the glands zip tied, and then they'll email. I think they email, or they can get on the site to see if it tests positive or negative. So,
did you see many?
No, there was a couple. I think Marshall County had one, but no, not
really. DeSoto hadn't. I don't think DeSoto ever had one, but we're in the regulations because the neighboring county.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think Tunica has any yet.
Yeah, I don't think they had either. Are they in the Are they touching? I don't know if they're one of the ones that even has the regulations, do they? Well, y'all go by Arkansas rules.
Yeah, we go by
Arkansas.
Yeah, the way the river used to run, we go by Arkansas season.
Dang, Mike, you already didn't ask him to mess one up. He confirmed he has.
I want some pictures.
Yeah, we want to see the rejects.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Put that on your business card up on the front of your building on the poster or something.
Try not to let that happen anymore.
No.
How bad? Like, how did you mess it up? I mean, what was
like
messed up about it?
my mess up? I mean, like looking back, like thinking it looked good. And I'm getting down on it.
Yeah,
it was more of expertise, right?
Like I've gone in customers' houses and they're like, "Yeah, you might have that deer 20 years ago." And I'm like,
oh,
"Oh,
man.
Don't tell nobody."
Yeah, but it comes with it. So,
and I know you get at least one or two a year. They want you to want a full shoulder mount, but yet they dress it all the way out to the bottom of his throat. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't really. They don't understand where to stop cutting that, I guess.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 every year. I try to educate. I mean, there's YouTube videos, there's everything. I mean, but some people just don't know any better.
They want to get every square inch of meat out of it.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, the more they bring you, the better they are, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much midways. We don't need the whole thing, but when they're cleaning it, just don't cut up the brisket area.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. A lot of people, they get happy and they go way up.
Really?
Yeah. And it makes, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, a lot of things, I mean, it's all on the customer or whoever, how the field care when they take care of it.
Do people still bring you whole animals?
No, that's usually just a
Just
most,
want the heads.
yeah, most of the process is keep them down, you know, and then they'll pick it up. But there's plenty of videos out if nobody knows. I mean, it's not hard. Take your time, the main thing. A lot of people, they get to celebrate and drink cold beer.
That's
and,
yeah. Most people just want to shoot them right around with them.
yeah, get in a hurry.
Or gut shot them. They don't want to mess with them and take them somewhere.
So most of the deer you get, I mean, most of them in Mississippi right here.
Yeah,
Or
for the
like-
most part. I mean, I get some out-of-state guys go on hunting trips and bring it back. Don't want to leave it to the, out of state, but
So
majority
do
of
you see a difference in, like, I guess just say probably most years coming out of North Mississippi that you're getting? Is there like counties or anything that you see them coming out of that are bigger than one or the other?
Well, obviously the Delta deer is just genetics compared to the just I don't know what it is, if it's the soil or what, but it's night and day body size or everything.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the state, I mean, I've seen it progress on bigger deer. I was kind of upset that they wouldn't this year. You can shoot anything, right? On the antler
I
criteria.
hadn't checked that.
I hadn't checked it. Have they? It was.
I don't know. I
I
saw
just
some
assumed it
stuff
was
on,
the
but I
same.
didn't.
It
I
is
didn't
something.
look.
That's something you need to look up.
I think it's.
Don't quote us on that. We just like to shoot them. We don't look at rules on it.
Yeah, I mean, I may be wrong, but I want to say I saw.
I thought it
read-
was 15-inch. Where we are is a 15-inch main beam, right?
I think it's a 15-inch main
Yeah.
beam. The spread's got to be 10 or 12 inches,
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
usually what it is.
I may be
It's-
wrong, but
Delta's bigger, but
I thought I saw something
I
where
think they did change something
that
on
you
it. but I
could
don't-
shoot anything now, and I was like, dang.
surely not.
Man, I hope not.
Well, so they did that with in the regulated zones. It could be they had changed it or something like that, depending on where you were. I think there were some rules on some of that stuff,
Right.
but they were just encouraging harvest because they were wanting more people to report. They were
Right.
they were wanting basically they want to take the numbers down.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. But you still can kill. It's three? Is it $3 and 5 doe this year?
It was last year. It was $3, and you got 5 does during rifle season, but I think total does for the whole season between bow season, muzzleloader, and all that, I think it was up around 7, 8 of them.
Yeah.
It was,
Jamie's pulling out the
Yeah,
app right
trying to.
now, trying to see what it is.
I mean, it still says we're
considered Delta zone where we hunt.
well. They got us now as north. I guess we'd be north central for DeSoto County. Yeah, DeSoto, Tate, Marshall. It's considered north central.
It's all highlighted red because it's in all that CWD.
It says any hardened antler. There's no
no
spread.
size restriction.
Yeah, no spread or no
Yeah.
God,
nothing.
man,
regulation.
Louisiana folks gonna love that.
Oh,
Joe.
yeah.
Man, they finna wax them.
So then we'll be $1 a day, 3 per season.
They were given in the CWZ zones. You got a extra one. Like if you brought one
yeah.
in, you got an extra $1.
And they extended that season. It was that last year they
Think it-
extended.
Yeah, last year
Yeah.
they did
Yeah.
extend it. But I think this is not. I think this is just going toward. They're trying to knock the population back.
looks
My
like
my opinion versus, they're not about to be. a
So now if it
trophy
has a
club.
measurable point that you can hang a ring on,
Is that
It's a
private
legal
or
deer.
public?
that's got to be private.
Yeah, private.
Private.
It's got to be private.
That's
Surely
private.
public still got regulations.
Most people are gonna manage their own.
Yeah.
Trying
I don't understand. I mean, I think you really should have a size restriction. I think our numbers are too high too, as far as bucks.
Oh yeah.
I'm cool with the doe numbers being what they are, and you probably need to be more.
yeah.
But I mean, $3, that's a lot. That's a lot taking a lot of mature deer if you're killing
Right.
young ones. We're really hurting them. But
I mean, we killed a bunch of deer last year. I don't want to clean or process or
That
no
was the
more
big
than what
thing.
we done. That was a lot of daggone work.
oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And what's bad, you can't even tell. I mean, the population's there again this year, just like it was last year, if
I
not
don't think
more.
we phased it
Mhm.
honestly on our place.
They say there's less people hunting, across the board, nationwide. It's hard to believe, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
And it's not like we're out to just kill everything that walks. That's not how it works. I mean, if you don't knock the population back, you're gonna run into, diseases and everything else happening.
nature will take care of it, and that's why we're in the situation we
Right.
are too.
It will. It's just like a plague, and with human beings back in the day,
Yeah,
same thing with deer. I mean, they get unhealthy and overpopulated, and something's going to happen. It's going.
I think age is a big deal too on the bucks. I think people would target the mature deer. That's what we're kind of learning at our club, trying to get everybody on board on shoot the older deer versus the younger deer.
It don't like where y'all are at the island. It's not going to take. I mean, it's going to take a couple of years, but it's not like it's going to take a lifetime before you see a difference. I mean,
Right.
I was thinking a few years, just 2 or 3 years, you should be able to see some kind of a difference pretty fast.
Yeah, I hope so.
Do y'all have restrictions over there?
We do. Yeah, we got to have a 22-inch main beam or 18-inch spread, one of the two, and it needs to be at least 3.5 years old. So, like, if you do shoot a short deer and that deer's over, I think 5.5, then it won't count against you because that buck's probably not going to be any.
Yeah, he's never going to make it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But like last year, our average harvest the age was 3.5 years of age, and that's just too young.
Too young.
Yeah,
They didn't got close to potential.
Then you got to deal with the river coming up too, and I think we're still hurt from that from 2 years ago when it stayed up for almost a year. So that's
the biggest obstacle y'all have is water level.
Yeah, the stress. So we got if we can get the management and the kill a certain age and everything, keep the river down, we'll be all right.
Do y'all work with the biologist there?
Yeah, we hired one last year, and he gives us our yearly what he thinks. I think right now we're at $1 per 100 acres is what he wants killed. So I think 45 bucks and then 60 does.
That's a pretty good quota right there.
That's on what just roughly 10,000 acres total.
So yeah, maybe a little bit more than that as far as a $1 per acre. But
how many do you get per year? Do you get in y'all? Is it a club rule or Arkansas rule?
Yeah, just club rule. Yeah, so like if we made our quota at $45, we're done. You don't.
No matter who got one.
No matter, it don't matter if it's.
See, the only thing.
Y'all have met it in Christmas several, December several times.
We got a lot of hunters, but you got to do something because then you'll just kill it out.
The bad thing about that is you get people that think they might not get one. So Thanksgiving or opening rifle season,
that's what
shooting that first
happy.
3.5, shooting that first 3.5-year-old deer.
Yeah, and they get trigger happy, and I mean it is what it is, but I don't know. I haven't killed one in 3 years, so I like to see them get a little bigger and versus just shooting whatever. So
there's a different world over there for sure. It's totally.
It's I grew up hunting in the hills, but over there, you'll hear the grunt and the fighting. That's
everything
cool.
You see on TV they're doing there.
Yeah, I mean you can rattle them up. It's pretty interesting.
I mean, like us, I'd say a 200-pound deer is not that common, but more.
Oh no, yeah, our bucks of 180 is a big buck on our own.
You get over there and y'all are 225, 250 on a buck, pretty regular.
Yeah, 230 is a good size.
Yeah,
he's grown.
Yep, he's thick.
I won't say it was the year I was there. It was a doe that they aged at I think like 8.5 or 9 years old. With the age they go at, I mean it was, and she was 150-pound doe. I mean,
right, yeah.
Well, the genetics on those things. When we used to live in Eudora, me and Melissa, when we first got married, where I grew up at, but we were in the hills over there by the lake stuff. We had some pretty good deer around the lake around there. There's a lot of agriculture and stuff like that. But when you killed a deer up there, it was, if you killed a 200-inch, or not 200-pound buck, that's a pretty good sized deer.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've killed does down in the Delta. Just
as soon as you drop off the bluff
down the road from the house, that was 200 pounds. It's common for them to get that big down there. It just. Man, I don't know, and they look different to me. They're longer looking deer, more stretched out.
They are longer.
I mean, it's access to food. I mean, I think it's just that's the main thing on them. Those deer they don't have to stress.
Right.
They've got they can eat acres and acres and acres of vegetation down there.
It's got to be something in the soil. I mean,
yeah,
because you look across the board. I mean, even Midwest, it's just
totally different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got the big states. They got those big deer. Your Iowas, and Indianas,
Kansas.
Yeah, there's some monsters.
Yep.
It's almost like it's different genetics compared to what our hill country deer is. But I would think it goes down to diet. I mean, they're not eating twigs and pine needles and all the crap that some of our deer eat.
But then you hear these stories like My dad's got a friend of his that hunts in Illinois, and they don't care nothing about shooting a deer. They'd rather come down here and catch crappie than than shoot a deer.
Yeah,
So,
I've been up there hunting a few times, and that's a different world, man.
Yeah,
You go up there between the rivers, up there in Pike County, man. Now before they got hit pretty bad with disease up there, and pushed them back. I think they're come back now, but I mean the does up there were
big.
200-pound does. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, and, you would see young bucks, and they were just monsters. And I was like, God, I've never seen deer this size.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge them. It's like, man, that's not a big deer here.
Right.
As the locals would tell us, we'd see an 8-point. He's probably 2.5 years old. It's like, man, that dude's a stud.
Yeah. It's a grown man.
Don't kill that deer. And so, but I will say this: the meat tasted totally different.
Did it?
I mean, Illinois deer meat, man, it tastes. It's got, I guess, because they eat so much corn up there.
So much corn, probably.
It was fantastic. I mean, it was just totally different than the way ours taste.
Ours tastes
It was
like
actually
Billy
marbled. Yeah, we've got
Wagyu buck.
It's about like what we got in Billy Goat.
Yeah.
Wagyu deer meat.
Yeah.
So you were doing processing. I know that's something that you kind of got out of work and the
I
taxidermy.
think we did it 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, it's just a lot of work.
It is. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, it's a big word of mouth thing too.
It is. It is. I mean, the first year we were kind of busy, and the second year, you put a good product out, you're gonna blow up.
Yeah,
quick.
and so it's hard to scale it when you can't get help. That's the big
that's
part.
seasonal. It's hard to find help, and then trying to run the tax.
Well, then you're at the fire station 24 hours, and then you're trying to mount deer, you're trying to process deer. Then where's your time to go hunting?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up there day after Thanksgiving, and all my guys, of course, they were off or had some excuse. They was probably hunting.
Yeah, probably.
I don't blame them, but and I had like 20 deer in the floor. This is crazy. I'm done. It was the last time, but
And you want to go hunt yourself?
yeah, spending all that money over there, and then I ain't even been.
I mean, I'm sure the
enjoy it.
money was good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's just work. It's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And then like I remember one time we had like 150 deer in the cooler, and then my cooler compressor locked up.
Holy
it was like
smokes.
a Sunday, so I'm like on the phone trying to get somebody out there. I'm like calling rental, freaking out, and luckily I knew a guy, and he was able to come right then to get it replaced. But something's always breaking. It's just.
I'll bet you got some good stories on some of that stuff. People not picking up meat or
That too. Which it worked out pretty good because everything I didn't like. I mean, the Hunters for the Harvest is good, but I had it set up to where mine specifically went to the Palmer home. And the guys, when they'd come pick it up, they were thankful because they said they're running through 100 pounds, 200 pounds of meat a week.
See, I didn't know that. And we do a lot with Palmer Home on the barbecue side of thing. We're always looking, like last year, we were talking about, we were checking our does back.
Yeah.
We were looking for people to give meat to. But I mean, as long as I guess you give it to them processed.
And the state, I think at the time they were paying like X amount to skin and X amount per pound. But I never did turn mine in to get
to get reimbursed or whatever.
But I told them, I said, I'll do it, but where's my meat going, And I told them, I said, I want it to go to them, and so it worked out good.
So what were you doing? Just basic cut packages?
Yeah, they just want basic ground, everything ground.
Yeah.
So nothing special, but I'd give them everything at the end of the year if somebody didn't pick up.
Yeah.
So.
And that's one of the one of the things that we have, like you were saying, is finding people when you do start trying to harvest deer off your property. We're not going to keep 10 or 12 deer. I'm not.
I can't eat that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But, we're obligated to try to take that many off a property. And what do you do with the doggone things? Because people really don't want them if you just kill it and throw it in the back of the truck. They're just like, well,
they want it already ground.
Yeah.
they wanted
everything but cooked.
vacuum sealed and everything. But
Yeah, they want the somersault. They want the good stuff.
that's right.
There's
bacon.
I don't know if the jail still used to. I know the game warden, if they took a deer or deer was hit, they carried it to jail. But I don't know if they still do or not.
I don't know. We need to do some research on that and find somebody or somewhere to take these things when we do kill them. Because last year we wound up we skinned out a bunch of them that we really didn't want to have to. And, wound up late at night trying to clean them things out. And
waiting on somebody to come get the meat.
Yeah. There was a couple of times we had some people wanted them. They got there and I just want. Let me get this.
I want
don't want all them.
Give me the back strap.
Yeah, I just want the back straps. Who doesn't? Yeah. No, you got to take shoulders and everything.
Yeah.
Do you know of any other organizations that in our area that you can donate meat to?
I'm sure there's some churches, but like I said, the Palmer home, they went through it.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at how much meat they would go through talking to the guy that runs that. But I don't know anybody else really.
Oh, if you could get it all that ground steak, ground burger that Mark did the smash burgers out the other day. If it was all that good, man, yeah, I'd grind one up too.
That's my thing. Is if by the time I process one, I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah. No, if I go that far with it, we're gonna use it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're talking about that. So when you was processing your like ground, did you add fat to it or anything, or just straight ground?
Yeah, I did. I added fat. I did 80-20. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
With the processing, a lot of people, especially on your sausages, you want your fat.
Yeah, they try to make it lean, and then they overcook it.
Yeah, and if it's too lean, your summer sauce will fall apart. But at the time, I don't think they do it anymore, but Home Place Pastures and Como, I was buying my fat through them. And so my little secret was all my fat was ribeye fat cut-offs.
Wow.
So like people are like, man, that's the best
feather,
brand. Yeah. I didn't tell nobody at the time, because you can get beef kidney fat through
local
like
butcher or something.
U.S.
Possible.
Food, Cisco,
yeah. And it's just not the same as so. But it'd have a little bit of trimmings on there.
Dang.
What'd you use for pork fat?
So yeah, and we use pork fat too in our sausages. So pork trimmings, which had a little meat on it too. So, but it would do about the same 80-20 on that.
Man, we cut all them steaks down for the water tower next week. We might have to save some fat.
Save it all.
yeah, I would. That makes a difference.
We did save a bunch of fat one time, and what happened to it?
Freezer went out.
Freezer went out. The door got left open.
Just lost it.
That's right.
We had a butcher send us a bunch of Wagyu fat.
Oh, wow.
I was like, man, he was trimming briskets down in Florida. We got a buddy that's got a butcher shop down there. He's like, man, I can send y'all fat. Y'all want it? And man, we had it, and we was ready to go for deer season. Somebody left the freezer door open, and we lost everything in that freezer.
That's a bad week at work.
Back up at a competition, tell everybody, hey, save.
Yeah. You can get all you want. But see, that was been my thing with it. Like, you can say buy a box of fat, you better be ready to process, because
it
ain't gonna. You can't just keep it in the freezer. That fat will go bad.
Yeah, it'll go bad. I mean, you want to use it up within several months.
Yeah.
You can freeze it, but it's just not the same, But you want it kind of semi-froze when you're grinding, because
that's right.
It'll turn into
mush. It clogs your grinder up.
Yeah, you ain't gonna get it anywhere.
So somebody that don't have like a walk-in cooler or something, what would be the best way for them? Like, they're not gonna process it right then. What should they try to do with that meat?
Man, a lot of them guys are what's the bags, that dry aging bags?
I've seen them.
People are deboning it and putting it in there and putting it in the refrigerator.
What I think I've kind of figured out is used to we'd kill a deer, put it in the cooler, quartered up, and dump ice on it.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, I figured out that's why I must have get freezer burned, because it was pulling all the blood out, and then when you freeze it, it was crystallizing.
Right.
So, yeah, I try to keep it as dry as possible.
Yeah,
but cold, but dry.
Some people are like, "Oh, that meat's white," but then you're kind of taking away. You're putting all that water in, and then I'm a dry age guy. I mean, you hang a deer 30 days.
That's good.
Off the hind quarter, it's like filet mignon when it's said.
See,
what we started doing was not getting water on it, was bagging it,
right?
Then getting it in a ice. If it's all you got, it's a cooler. You got that's what you got.
Just leave the drain plug out of the cooler.
But keep the water out of the cooler, fresh ice in it, and keep the meat in bags. And don't put it directly on the bottom. Keep it suspended some kind of way, whether you got to put a milk crate or a rack or something in that cooler to where the moisture can get down and get away from it, and your meat stays way better that way.
Right.
I mean, I do like it iced. It'll wet age in there. You can leave it in there as long as you keep ice on it and keep it from getting wet. It'll stay in there for a week.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is keep it from being submerged underwater, because it starts getting that jelly.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a pain in the butt.
Can't hold it when you try to.
Can't hold it. Sliding around. You just.
And don't rinse it. I mean, you got to rinse hair and get the hair and stuff off it when you process it. But try to get it as dry as possible when you put it up.
I don't know. I carried a deer. Let's see, I guess in 2006. My daddy had a heart attack. I killed a deer that morning. He had a heart attack that afternoon, and I just dropped it off at whoever I could find to process it. And whatever's on that deer, I think that guy ground up in it. Leaves, hair, it didn't matter. It got ground up.
I've seen some of those places.
Yeah, you get it back how it came in.
Yeah.
That's the big thing with taking processors. People always getting hung up. I didn't get my deer back.
Right.
I got one. I don't shoot buckshot. That had some shot in it. I know you hear all that stuff, but and I guess there are some guys out there that do that. You got to watch who you do business with.
Man,
be careful.
Yeah.
Mikey carried 2 deer to a guy at one point in time.
Yep.
He got one back in the cooler and called him back, and then mysteriously he just had a bag of deer meat that happened to be yours.
Yeah, here's your bag right here.
Yeah, the first deer came.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that first deer came back in about 2 weeks. He
Yeah.
got it back to me, and then he never. I never got the other one. I was like, well, I ain't gonna bother him. You know, he's probably busy. It's probably okay. And I called him. He couldn't find my deer.
Yeah.
So finally, I got a deer back 2 months later, like going into January. I was out of deer.
What's
And I was like, man,
You
I
got
don't know
somebody's
if I
deer
want
now?
that thing.
That's some roadkill.
It got shuffled to the back, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I found it.
That's
yeah.
what I asked him. I was like, I hope this ain't the same freaking deer because I don't want it.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't. It wasn't your deer, I'm sure.
I've been one where they've got all this different kinds of sausages they do, and you check it off. Like, you know, I want so much Italian, so much brat, so much whatever.
Right.
And then you get there to pick it up, they just go get it out of the bulk bin. And then even,
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like, I know this ain't my deer. You just giving me something you packaged.
Yeah, we would tag every lug, and you would get your deer back. But if like some people wanted one stick of summer sausage, well,
You're not going to make.
yeah, it got all mixed together
That's-
in one batch.
yeah.
And man, just because you're talking, it take forever. To do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
How you can do that?
yeah.
I mean, and most people that I have taken them to, I want to see it. The lug tag, it stays with
Yeah.
it no matter where it goes. A lot of them you can even see. Like I'll go down to Central Mississippi sometimes and take some because I love their sausage.
Hmm.
They make down at
Which one's that?
Dwight's or
Okay,
Vans.
yeah,
They
yeah.
make
Yeah, they do got
some of
some
the
that's
best
good.
sausage you can
Good.
get down that way.
Yeah.
Smoked sausage. Now just regular,
Right.
other sausage. I ain't like, but you know you're getting your deer back
Yeah.
on those. It's
Yeah,
not
Vans
just
got operation.
They do thousands of deer.
Yeah, I,
I
heard
don't know how many
I don't
they do.
know if it's true, but I heard they do like 20,000 deer.
Oh,
a year.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So
It's
that's
18-wheelers, reefer trailers they got parked out there.
Good.
I wonder
That's
if taxidermists
crazy.
like take them in, like they got a walk-in cooler and they take it in, they just carry it to them to get it processed, I guess.
Probably so. I don't know if they do taxidermy there, though, do they? I don't think so.
No.
They'll probably cape it out for you.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying if
Yeah.
you had a taxidermy shop and you had a cooler, you would handle the processing that guy's meat, but you actually wasn't the processor.
Yeah, there's like middleman and
Yeah, yeah.
processing. Hey, there you go, Hunter.
Yeah, I'm sure they
Run
do,
you a
yeah.
truck back down there,
Yeah.
mark it up a little bit. Well, the thing is about it, no joke, it's expensive.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you know how much you can make off processing. I mean,
But I don't. If I'm getting good product back, I don't mind spending the money.
I don't
you know?
either.
Right.
Because I know what it goes into.
Right.
When you're talking about sitting down and trimming all that, we're not just talking about grinding a deer. Anybody can cut it, debone it, and grind it. But when you're putting time into it, making all the different stuff and
Yeah.
specialty cuts and smoking some of it, I mean, that's
And when you start getting into different recipes,
Yeah.
different sausages, it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
it is. It is.
So I don't know how much time we got. So I'm sure you have this coming. A guy brings an animal with us, a deer, turkey, duck, and in your mind, you know that deer, that was not killed legally. There's no possible way that was killed legally.
Has it ever come up?
Oh yeah,
Don't ask, don't tell.
Is that the-
No, but as far as me, I mean, yeah, if I get asked by the game wardens or feds, I'm gonna be like, tell them the truth. I'm not gonna put my permits and license
oh
on.
heck no.
Well, so they come and the game wardens and
Every
federal.
now and then, I had a situation last year, but I didn't have it, or I would have turned it in.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they hit them up, them and the processors. So
Wasn't like an eagle or something.
no.
I want to mount this bald eagle.
Now, I do get some phone calls like, this owl died or this hawk died.
Yeah.
I'm like, just leave it alone. 'Cause-
Don't mess with it.
yeah, that's like worse than anything.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
So,
Have you ever been fined for anything?
no. Knock on wood. Not,
No deer come in and still got that headlight look on it. Spotlight. Yeah, eyes are big.
22 hole.
yeah.
Yeah, I got a good shot.
Yeah, a kid killed that one. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
No
No.
Q-beam.
So you can't even mount a bird of prey.
Mm-mm. No, it's on the federal. That's a federal
Protected.
offense. You're talking thousands. Like, I don't even know what the fine would be, but you want to stay away.
You don't
Well,
want
I
that
mean,
in your shop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I kind of figured you couldn't do it if the
Now,
individual brought it to you,
the-
but like if a
they
game
give me
warden,
now if they bring it to me and get a permit, or the state gets a special permit,
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well-
Like Indian reservations, I did a golden eagle for a guy, but he was Native American, so he had the permit and all that. It was like some ceremonial.
There you
piece
go,
that
Mike.
we
You
do,
ain't you
so-
quarter any?
Hey, I can get in there. Let me call, see if I can get my permit. Give me a quarter of a permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you get, a quarter per.
I don't get a full
You might get a
permit.
wing.
Yeah, wing and a foot. Like
We
you get.
we can get you a wing. Oh.
Well,
So,
Was there any other questions you had on here, Mikey?
no, that pretty much covered everything. That was
Yeah.
Wanted everybody to kind of understand what Hunter does, and the just the process and the time that a taxidermist puts into mounting your deer. So you find somebody like Hunter. We were blessed to have him in our own town, and he's been friends with us for a long time, and we've known him. He does excellent work. So if you're looking for a good taxidermist, look Hunter up. Final Approach Taxidermy, and not saying there ain't other taxidermists out there, but
Oh, there's
You're-
there's some awesome taxidermy.
have you seen that like that market grow in the past couple
Oh,
years?
yeah. Like
I
I'm
mean,
still learning. Like, I mean, there's some, like, I'm mediocre to some guys. I mean, these guys, I mean, yeah.
I remember we was growing up. I mean, Wally was who you carried to tax.
Right, yeah.
Wally was like the man on mountain deer at the
Mhm.
time. Is he still alive?
You know, I don't even know.
The last time I heard he moved to Sardis or Enid or
might,
somewhere down that way.
Yeah, I think Darren used him on all his
Yeah.
stuff.
He done good.
yeah, he was good.
But yeah, it's progressed and grew. I mean, like I said, it pretty much everybody's getting on a level playing field now, getting good and up to date, with where we need to be.
Right.
Because I mean, we're kind of a skilled trade, I mean,
Oh, it is. It is
it's not-
definitely.
So,
I helped my uncle try to do one when I was in my 20s. Yeah, that's not. It wasn't pretty. it would have went one of them calendar bucks. It wasn't
Right.
nothing pretty.
Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to have a contest where you get us the supplies, Hunter, and we
Okay.
do one. You judge
Oh,
and see who-
yeah,
Yeah,
See
so
who
a
do the
cooking
best
contest,
job.
taxidermy
Make
contest.
it find you a new apprentice.
that's right.
I need mine hided out and everything before I do it though. I ain't gonna make it through the.
I'm gonna do a squirrel.
Are you?
Something manageable. Ain't that what you started with?
Yeah, so, duck was my first
Oh,
one.
duck,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
What's-
that's
so-
the hardest stuff.
Yeah, if I say between a duck,
Wow.
a deer,
Duck and-
turkey.
Duck and turkeys. I mean, they can be a pain, especially turkeys.
Yeah, turkeys to get used to. You never heard of anybody mounting a turkey. Now it's
Yeah,
you can see a bunch of people got turkeys.
Mhm.
I come into your shop one day and you had one. You were blow drying it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was the nastiest looking freaking thing. It was all wet,
Wet,
and
yeah.
the feathers were wet. And he was sitting at the desk, he had that blow dryer going, and I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
It was a turkey.
it'll come back to life once
So
you dry it out.
before we get out of here, how's the best way to preserve a turkey or a duck, or if you want to bring you one?
Ducks, I like to tell people take some damp paper towels, wrap around the head and around each foot, and then slide it in a 2.5 gallon Ziploc bag. Maybe fold the head over its back or in between the wing. Don't use a pantyhose. That's like old.
That's what I always heard. Put it in a pantyhose.
Don't do it.
You don't want to see that.
No. Well, because it mashes the feathers down and crinkles them up, and
Yeah.
But also, when people put it in pantyhose and stick it in the freezer, it's exposed to air, and then you got freezer burn and
Yeah.
everything else. Turkey the same way. I tell people to keep a regular quart size Ziploc bag in their vest with a paper towel and a zip tie maybe, and wrap that paper towel around the head and slide the Ziploc bag over it and put the zip tie, and that just keeps the blood from dripping all over it because your head's shooting them.
Yeah.
So that's where most of the
So are you
What do you
using the
drop them
actual
in to
head?
freeze them?
garbage sack. Yeah, just slide them in the garbage sack and just lay them in the freezer or bring it straight to me. A lot of guys want to bring it straight to me because they want to save that breast for them.
Yeah.
Do you use the actual turkey head, or is it?
Yeah,
Or
freeze
I know
dried.
used to everybody use like the artificial.
Yeah,
fake one, but
it's kind of. I mean, like freeze dried heads for the longest were the
Right.
best, and still are. They're still good but now they're getting into casting the head, and I mean it's getting
Crazy.
great. Yeah.
How long can you hold a duck or something like that?
In the freezer.
Yeah.
Like, if it's wrapped up properly, it's good for a year or two. I mean,
Okay. So
I got one about 8 years.
I was
10
fixing to
years.
say I was trying to remember who has the.
I got Thomas's.
Yeah.
What is it? I can't remember what duck it was. It's white, but I don't remember what it was. White and gray.
I don't know, widgeon or something.
Might
Coot.
be.
Gadwall.
Coot Mountain.
Yeah, coot.
Yes, can't leave your. That was I wanted to bring that up because I know Jamie had one, and I know a lot of people that'll hold something for a
They'll
long
forget
time.
about 'em.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'll bring this one to you next week.
See what you can do with it.
And there's ways to rehydrate everything, but it's better if you wrap it up good, especially the
I didn't know that about the paper towel. I would have stuck it off.
yeah,
with
just a
pantyhose or
damp
something.
paper towel, around each foot and the head, and that keeps it fresh as the day you killed it.
I wouldn't have done that. I probably just watered it up and threw it in the
Yeah.
bag and just brought it.
There you go.
If you
man.
want one mounted, don't be picking it up and grabbing it by the neck, hold it by the leg. You don't want to baby it.
Yeah,
because because I do have to turn some stuff down. I can't turn.
Work magic.
Yeah.
I don't know. You worked one with mine. I shot between the eyes.
Yeah.
That was
That deer's rough.
Yeah, that was. I forgot about that.
he was something else.
Can you order me a set of eyes that I can just tack onto that
Yeah.
deer just to remind Malcolm?
Should have preserved those.
I never
Popped
forget
out.
that.
Oh, y'all been there.
Split his
Yeah,
wig.
he did.
Malcolm would look at it, laugh for a minute, and he'd look at it and gag for a minute. It's so funny.
It was pretty rough. I've never shot one between the eyes like that.
No blood trail in that one.
Nope. He just bulldozed.
And he went from a 7-inch spread to a 27-inch spread.
He was adjustable.
Yeah.
He was adjustable. You could put him however you wanted him.
I call it the Chris and Rich Buck.
Yeah.
Good times, good times.
Well, Hunter, we appreciate you coming hanging out with
appreciate
us,
you.
man. We'll have to do this again. Maybe
Yeah,
we
I
can
enjoyed it.
talk some more taxidermy as the season goes on.
Yeah.
Mikey, you got anything else to wrap us up here today?
No, that's it. Hunter, if you want to tell them where your address is, where they can find your shop and
it's
everything, if
at
somebody just dropped one off.
380 Vaden Drive, Hernando, Mississippi.
And you got a cooler. If
Yeah, I got a drop off cooler. I just tell people I got a lock on it, and they can call or text me if I'm not there. And that way they don't have a place to store it, keep it good and cold. So we can
Do you want to put
take
your
it out.
number out there?
It's a 901-413-4643.
All right. That's Hunter Williams with Final Approach Taxidermy.
Learning more every week.
That's it. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Y'all know y'all can find us on Facebook. We're on TikTok. Of course, we're on YouTube. And we actually went down to the farm. We didn't talk about it earlier. We did some new Buck Junkie style deer camp recipes.
Some good
Those
recipes.
were really good ones. Those are going to be coming out, so y'all keep an eye out for them. I think Mikey's going to release his. He did a quick breakfast one. It was a cinnamon. What'd you call them?
Cinnamon roll pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket. Yeah, and I got some backstrap tacos that I did. Those will be the first two that come out. So y'all keep an eye out. Follow us on those other social channels. And if you got any questions or anything y'all want to talk about on the podcast, just send them to us on Facebook or however, whichever one of them channels you want to, we'll answer them. But we'll see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all hanging out. We gone.